Sebastian Rogers, it's been more than a year and a half at this point. He's still missing. Recently, the FBI released their timeline update in this case. Whoa, I've got some feedback. 1 second, folks.
Sibilance.
Oh, my
Microphone
goodness.
check.
On here. I got to mute this. 1 second. Please stand by. Please stand by.
Please stand by. Please stand by.
Watch the closing doors, please.
All right. I'm sorry. We're going live today on Instagram as well. All right. So Sebastian Rogers, it's been a year and a half. FBI timeline. I want to go through it because we haven't had a chance. We've been on some other stories recently, and I want to go through this timeline, what it means, what pieces are missing, what questions it raises, and what questions are unanswered, and why why this case hasn't been solved, why Sebastian Rogers hasn't been found. So that's the agenda today. I am Vinny Politan. Great to have you aboard, folks. Welcome to the show. I'm the lead anchor at Court TV, your front row seat to justice. With me, Albert H. Wunsch III, Esquire.
Hola, Tangenistas.
Also with us, the radio legend, the one and only Jonesy.
Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey.
And this is the Tangent Podcast.
It's Vinny and the Tangent, True Crime Podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangent, True Crime Podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all have a blast. Vinny, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill Gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny and the Tangent, True Crime Podcast.
All right. Happy Friday, everyone, as we get closer and closer to the holidays. Great to have you aboard. But it's been way too long in the Sebastian Rogers case. And are you surprised, Al, that we're still here without an answer, without solving what happened here and trying to find this young man?
I'm not surprised, but on the other hand, it just tears at my heart. Absolutely tears at my heart. This poor family having to deal with this, and this poor child, wherever he is. It is, this story has baffled me from the beginning, and it continues. And I'd gone through this timeline and looked at everything, and I'm just I just can't figure it out. I don't understand why we can't get some form of closure on this, why this boy can't be found, or why, we don't know what happened to him. It's just baffling and heartbreaking.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. He just turned 16, Jonesy.
Yeah, I didn't know that he just turned 16, but it boggles my mind as well, because it seems to me in a lot of similar type of cases, of somebody missing, that by now there'd be some sort of breakthroughs, in these modern times with video cameras everywhere and, investigatory techniques that never existed in the past. It just seems like tracking is something that happens a lot faster than this particular case.
Yeah. By the way, folks, we're live streaming on my Facebook, on my YouTube, on my Twitch, on my X, and on my Instagram today. So we're on Instagram today.
Oh, fancy.
Full vertical format. So welcome to folks watching on Instagram. And of course, the Court TV simulcast on Court TV's YouTube. So great to have everyone aboard there. Let's get right to it, because I want to get to this timeline, because it'll take a little bit of time to get through the timeline of what the FBI recently released in this case. So, wait a minute. I got to hit the pause button. Here we go. On February 26, 2024, right? It's actually, we're getting pretty close to 2 years now. Katie Proudfoot, his mom, went to wake up her 14-year-old son for school. To her surprise, he was nowhere to be found. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers had spent the previous day with his mother. The pair shopped at a department store, played video games at a bowling alley, and had dinner at a local restaurant before heading home for the evening. After returning to their home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, Katie and Sebastian prepared for bed, saying goodnight sometime between 9 and 10. So my first question is, and I think it has, I mean, you have to look at everything, everyone, and every moment of this.
Okay.
Do we have evidence that he returned home in Hendersonville, Tennessee? Like, the FBI doesn't necessarily say that here. Like, what is the evidence? Obviously, mom can say it, right? That's evidence. But is there some corroborating piece of evidence, like video, cell phone, logging on to his computer or something? Is there something? That's the first thing that I would want here. Something that confirms this first part of the timeline, that Sebastian actually returned back to the home in Hendersonville.
Well, we do though have. There was the guy in the green hoodie that spoke to the mother in the parking lot, and the kid was there at that time.
But that's not their home.
That's not their home, but I mean, it does show that. I mean, he was heading to the car at that point in time, but doesn't show that he was home. But I mean, so we do have him in the parking lot. We do have him in the car or getting to the car. And then the next thing is we have to believe the mother saying that he's at the house.
Right.
Bed. And they said they parted. He went to bed. She went to her, where she was going. And then the next part of the story comes with a loud bang, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But to me, this moment right here, this is a crucial part of the timeline, because this establishes, like, what I would call it's not necessarily the scene of the crime, but like, where should the focus be in terms of locations? And Jonesy, if we have evidence, like corroborating evidence that he's in the home, which can come in many different ways, then yeah, the focus is the home. But unless we have that, I think the focus of the invest has to begin at the restaurant.
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, that absolutely makes sense. You need to connect the dots on, like, as far as, like, where they actually traveled to before whatever incident may have taken place to cause his disappearance.
But they did go to the restaurant. They did speak to the people at the restaurant. I mean, that's how they identified the green hoodie guy.
And there's video of them at the restaurant.
Right. And there is no testimony or nothing that's come up that we're aware of that says that there was any untoward behavior or there was any other problems between her and her child at the restaurant. There's nothing that says that they were fighting or that there was incidents. So it just seemed like they had a decent, a nice meal. They were playing the video games and at the bowling alley and they had dinner. I mean, so they did look into the restaurant. I mean, obviously the mother is always going to be the first suspect with regards to this because she's the one who sees him last.
The last known person to be with Sebastian Rogers is her mother. So right. Everything she says needs to be corroborated from start to finish. Everything. But
it would be very, very difficult to corroborate that he's at the house without him logging on to a computer or without having something else or made a phone call from the house or had a cell phone at the house. But the cell phone is at the house. His cell phone's at the house. His money is at the house.
Right. Do they have his cell phone? Well, like, is his cell phone, did they track the route from the restaurant back home to see if it was a direct route? Did they check all the cameras? Did they check license plate readers? Did they check surveillance video from whether it's convenience stores or traffic cameras? I don't know what exists in Hendersonville, but were they able to verify that the drive home was in the appropriate amount of time that it takes to get from point A to point B? And did it take the route that you would expect them to take? And if they did, is there any sort of corroborating evidence, video, digital evidence? That's what I want to see here.
And there's not. I mean, unless they're not,
they may not have released it, but like
Right.
I think they should instead of just giving us a narrative, right? Which is kind of what the FBI is doing. Say, okay, we verified it X, Y, and Z, but it's not really playing out that way. Here's the next part, and this is what you're talking about, Al. And this is the really strange part. Katie told us a little bit before 10 p.m. She heard a loud bang coming from Sebastian's room, so she yelled out to him to ask if he was okay, to which he responded that he was. Said Detective Brandon Carter from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. She told him to go to bed because they had to be up early for school the next morning. Boom. Are you okay? Yeah. All right, get ready for school. So it's a situation like that. Does that make sense?
No.
Does that make sense to you as mom home alone with her child who is a child with autism, but it's functioning. He's high functioning.
That's you see, these are the kind of little factoids that always send up flags to me. There's almost too much detail and then not enough detail. There's a loud bang and she doesn't investigate. The child is a special needs. I mean, he's high functioning, but still has special needs. And anytime there is a bang in my house or anything along those lines, I will investigate. I mean, I may yell, just say, you okay? And then I walk
That's what
in
she did. She yelled.
But then I would walk in and go, so what happened?
What was that? What was that? Like
what
there would be
happened there? Right. And that
I do that too. I do the investigation. Well, what was that noise?
Yeah.
What was that loud bang?
Yeah, the first thing you yell is like, are you okay? And then you get up and you walk in and you go, so what went on here? What happened? What something fall? Did you break something? What's the situation?
Jonesy, what was that loud banging coming from your room last night, Jonesy? What was that?
People, I don't know, people might take this the wrong way, right? But I don't have children. But if I have a cat who can be troublesome and can get herself in trouble. And, I'll be doing a radio show or whatever, and I'll hear some noises, something going on out there, or I'll hear a cry. And okay, she doesn't speak English, but I do ask, what are you doing out there? But I get up, I go and I check to make sure that she hasn't gotten herself in any kind of trouble, because she is prone to that sort of thing. And, I realize some people would say, well, it's just a cat, right? But okay, so maybe that's my point. To me, that cat means a lot. And if you say it's just a cat, and there's no comparison, well, of course there's not. But I still check because I care.
Now, let's get to the next line here. This is a significant line. Katie called her husband, who was out of town in Southwest Tennessee for work, and the two of them spoke for nearly 2 hours before she went to sleep around midnight. Now, that's something through phone records that could obviously be corroborated, a 2-hour conversation. But do you find a 2-hour conversation with your spouse who was away suspicious? Does anyone find that suspicious? I mean, if in fact the records show a 2-hour conversation?
I would think that depends, really.
I mean,
when we were away and I would call Gina, there were very brief conversations because, we were busy and
you're talking about CrimeCon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we went to CrimeCon, I would check in like when I go back to the room, but they were very brief. It was like, we're having a great time, blah, blah, blah. But I would imagine it would depend. I mean, has she elaborated on what they spoke about for 2 hours?
Yeah. Well, I think there's been some talk about that, but I think, but we don't know. We don't know what they spoke about. So the question is a 2-hour conversation the night before or around the time that a teenager goes missing, is that in and of itself suspicious?
Well, I will tell you this. I think the loud bang thing is the most suspicious thing of all.
That's before that's allegedly before the conversation.
And that's before the conversation. But the problem I have with that is like, it's one of those things that if you're getting involved in it's almost like, Ola man. Okay. There's just a weird detail that kind of comes in out of the blue that would not ordinarily be something you'd be bringing up in a conversation. And the loud bang, and then the fact that she didn't investigate it. I mean, she's on the phone with her husband for 2 hours. Does she mention the loud bang? And if she does he say, well, did you just go take a look and see what the hell's going on there? I mean, it's a 2 hour.
What is that kid up to? What is that teenager up to? Kind of like, hey.
And that a 2 hour conversation, I'm certainly establishes an alibi. Okay. But it is a little out of the ordinary, I think. If under the circumstances, I agree with Jonesy. If you're going to be checking in, you're not checking in and having a 2 hour conversation unless you're going over your tax returns, and or something along those lines. But that
tax returns.
Yeah. Well, what else? What else? Why would you be on the phone for 2 hours with anybody? Okay.
Hey, babe, how you doing? Yeah. I'm getting ready.
Those are like the conversations we have, Vin. But I mean, those are all private. And
I think 2 hours though, and obviously that's something that can be corroborated. So you're not gonna deny a 2 hour conversation, right? Because if you did something nefarious, right? But if something happened, I could see a 2 hour conversation if something horrific happened to Sebastian inside the house, whether it's accidental or whatever happened. Like if something happened to him, I could see a 2 hour conversation about what to do.
Okay, that makes sense, and that is something along those lines. It also could be a 2 hour conversation because they're fooling around on the phone and maybe not necessarily her paying attention to what might be happening with.
Right. Yeah. So it is two things, right? So I like that point, Al. On the one hand, like you could be talking about something that happened, or you are distracted, you're on the phone, something is happening, and you're oblivious to it.
Yeah. I mean, there could be, a dirty phone conversation that you're getting. It happens.
It happens.
I could conceivably get that for 2 hours, but
for 2 hours?
Well, that and the tax returns. Those
Yeah,
are the two,
I could go 2 hours with that.
Only 2 times I get that I'd have a conversation that long.
Listen, I'm wearing nothing but a W-2.
Well, I'm W-3, remember.
Right.
But like that's conceivably a situation. I mean, they're apart and there may be something going on along those lines, and then you're not paying attention to what's going on with the child. So
okay. Katie called her. All right. The next morning was the beginning of what would become a massive search effort for Sebastian. So let's continue the next moment here in this timeline. Katie called her husband again. So this is a call the following morning. Told him she couldn't find Sebastian, that he wasn't in his room or anywhere in the house, said Carter. Katie got into her car, drove around the neighborhood and to Sebastian's school, which was less than a mile from their house, searching for Sebastian before returning home. During this time, her husband called the local emergency communication center to report Sebastian is missing. Okay, in the way that breaks down, right? Sebastian's missing. Chris, I can't find Sebastian. I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to go look for him. I'm going to drive to the school. Boom. He calls, I guess, 911 or the emergency communication lines in Hendersonville because he is purportedly out of town at this moment.
Right.
Does that all make sense to everyone here?
Yes.
Yes and no.
Well, give me the yes first and give me the no.
If I can make one comment before that, because I'm seeing comments on here, 2 hours of dirty talk. Obviously, you people don't have a really good imagination because I could probably go 2 hours on that. All right.
And he'll prove it after the show.
That's
and,
right.
and by the way, that may be one of the prizes during the Tangent Christmas special is
And
2 hours on the phone with Al.
Murray Hill 83939. That's right. Murray Hill 83939.
You get to listen to Al for 2 hours on the phone.
That's right. Well, with a good
That would be a
imagination,
great
I could go 2
prize.
hours.
And now it doesn't have to be dirty talk, but a 2 hour conversation with Al.
All right.
And by the way, in the 2 hour conversation, you would get in about 6 to 10 words.
I'd like to know if the Murray Hill number you just gave out was from I Love Lucy. I had a Murray Hill number once on 39th and Lexington.
Oh, really? That wasn't. I was just making up that. But Murray Hill was from I Love Lucy, but the numbers.
Yeah. What people don't realize, to go on a tangent, a lot of younger people don't realize that a lot of times the first couple of digits of your phone represented like letters. Like in Kearney, it was Wyman 199, and that somehow represented West Hudson. Murray Hill is a section of Manhattan that I Love Lucy supposedly lived in, but when they gave their address, it was actually in the East River. There was no 600 block.
No. And by the way, Murray Hill was where the original Court TV was.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. So years before I worked for Court TV, I lived on that block. I didn't really live there, but I had a lady who did, so I might as well have. Yeah, we had some conversations. Sometimes they went for quite a while.
So, all right. So going back on the phone call. All right. So you can't find him. You call your husband and you say, "Listen, I can't find him. I'm going to go look.
Yeah.
If he went to school." That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
And then
that makes
the
sense
father-
to me.
And then the father calls the emergency communication center to report him missing. That might be a little premature. I would have probably said, you go look, see if he's at the school or see if he's walking to school or what the situation is, and then let me know. And then I would have made a call at that point. I don't know if simultaneously, and we're not sure what the timing was.
Well, you have to look at it two ways. No, they say during this time, so Katie gets in the car and starts searching before returning home. During this time, the husband called the local. So he's calling as she's searching. She has not completed her search.
And I find that to be a little premature.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me because I would have, What
does that mean if it's premature? What does that tell you? Could it, and I think the logical place to go after that, if you believe it's premature, someone who is trying to set up a scenario might call 911 a little early. But then I want to be fair because a lot of times we go after people for not calling 911. Like, why didn't they call 911? I don't want it to be one of those double-sided. I'm just thinking the way I would do it. And I think before we called 911, but I don't have a child with autism. So it's a different place.
But it's a last resort. As I would think that 911 would be the last resort. I mean, conceivably, the kid could have been going to school. Okay, that makes sense.
It was early, though. It was super early.
Yeah, but still, you know what? I mean, he with the autism, maybe he was focused on, an assignment or something he was going to be doing, and he got up and he wanted to get to school. He didn't want to sit in the house anymore, and he wanted to go to school. I don't think that is inconceivable.
Well, that's why I say yes and no, because it depends on your degree of concern at the time and what history has shown you in your relationship with said child. Has this ever happened before? And if it has, was it resolved like quickly and it turned out to be something innocent? So I don't necessarily think calling 911 is a red flag or anything. It really, it depends on the situation. Like, how concerned are you about this child? How much danger can he be in if he's alone and unsupervised?
I mean, I think that I would have looked for him. If he's not found, then I'm going to call 911. But I also would have thought that the mother, when she didn't find him, would have been the one to call 911. So, I mean, is that a red flag? I don't necessarily think so, but I think it's just kind of odd, in the theory that you're going forward with, Vinny, with regards to the fact that, it just seems very convenient. Um, I can understand where that might send up a little concern if I'm
Right.
the FBI.
It's a quick draw, like boom. But again, child with autism, potentially different scenario.
That's true.
You might be much more concerned, much more quickly. I will tell you though, and I think I've said this story. The one time that we were at an event and Max went missing for just a moment, boom! I jumped up on top of a picnic table because it was an event, outside at a park, and I screamed at the top of my lungs, got everyone's attention to look for him, and we found him very quickly. He had snuck around the corner of the tennis courts. I don't know why, quirky kid, but I know the panic sets in very quickly. So I could understand that. And if it's a child with autism, maybe that gets amplified much more. So again, the point of what we're talking about today is looking at the timeline that the FBI has put together and placed into the public forum, figure out where the holes are, and try to draw from it what you can from what they know, what they've been able to establish as their working timeline, and what questions they have, and what it really means. And I think all this stuff is fair game. It's not convicting anyone. It's not accusing anyone. It's about where should the investigation go, and what should raise suspicion for investigators, and what should confirm, okay, we got it. Let's move on to the next potential road we can go down in all of this. So here's an interesting note that they wrote right here. In the early days of the search, it seemed Sebastian vanished without a trace. I mean, has that ever changed?
No, it hasn't.
The implication of that sentence, and I'm sure like everything is written very carefully, is that maybe something has changed in the early days of the search.
Right.
Not, I mean, like, just to preface it by saying that seems to imply that something has changed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anything has changed. We'll continue to walk through the timeline, but I just want to let everyone know that Funky is on the job
It's
today.
time to get funky. It's time for us to smile, because here comes Max Spunky.
And a hello to McSpunky, Vinny, Al, Jonesy, Mods, and y'all. Greetings from the Lurking Road. Great to see you, McSpunky. Thank you so much. Your support is appreciated. All right. Let's get back to this. Okay. And we continue on the FBI timeline of events here. All right. The first week in the search for Sebastian was a massive community and interagency effort between the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, Emergency Management Agency, Hendersonville Police, Gallatin Police, Tennessee Highway Patrol, the FBI, Metro Police, Wilson County Sheriff's Office, Sumner County EMS, Sumner County Emergency Response Team, and several other agencies throughout Tennessee. The search consisted of about a 4.5-mile radius around Sebastian's home. 2,000 searchers equipped with an app tracking their movements. The searchers could also use the app to plot things on a map that they observed while they were out searching. The total area they covered within that 4.5-mile radius was the equivalent of combined 44,000 acres. That's a massive search. There's woods, there's water in that area. But it seems like they jumped in and did do a search. Like, it's not like they avoided this. Like, they seemingly jumped on this, got cooperation. And that's one of the reasons this story became so big.
Yeah. Well, a
Seems
four
like
and a
they
half
call
mile
that everybody.
4.5 mile radius is a large distance for a young child to be walking. 44,000 acres. I mean, that's
Well, if in a 4.5 mile radius, is if a radius is from the middle to the edge, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So what is it, diameter? I want to get into a little geometry right now.
Jeez.
I just don't remember. It's been a while.
Radius would mean it's from a set point going out in
right, from the center, because we're searching in a circle.
Yeah,
so
searching
here 4.5 miles. So you do the whole circle from one edge of the circle to the next is 9 miles. So this is a wide search.
It's a wide search.
It's a very wide search. If I got my radius correct, I just haven't done geometry in a while because I was lucky. My children didn't need help with it. They're able to handle that part on their own.
Well, Vin, I always find a way during the day to be able to use the Pythagorean theorem in everything I do, including my taxes.
So when we got to geometry, I mean, I was just lost, and I somehow passed, right? But later in life, I determined that the only thing the average person would use geometry for is when shooting pool, or when trying to move a very long sofa or a long piece of furniture into a narrow hallway. In other words, I've never had any use for geometry until you brought up this question.
All right. I'm just scrolling through the comments here. Sue, a lot of folks on YouTube today in the chat. Fantastic. We got something from Johnny Knoxville we got to address here. Good afternoon, Jonesy, Wunsch, and Vinny. Grinding out 3 more hours in the office. Thanks for covering the story. Been following it since the alleged spotting of Sebastian here in North Carolina. I remember covering that. I actually thought that was him.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was him. It didn't. That was.
It looked just like him, Al. You're wrong. It looked just like him.
I'm not wrong. I was correct, and I was correct then. I said it wasn't him. We did that.
It wasn't him, but it looked just like him. It was a very distinct look, and he had the body of it. It made sense. It's at a rest stop. If he had been abducted or something like that, and someone was trying to hide, those are the kind of places where you might spot people on the road at the rest stop. We know rest stops well growing up in Jersey. They were very infamous on the Garden State Parkway.
Sure, but we never had Stuckies,
No.
When I traveled down to the Carolinas, I was fascinated by Stuckies. Try the
thing is Buc-ee's.
pecan roll.
Buc-ee's. Have you been to Buc-ee's?
No.
Buc-ee's is the real deal. All right. Here we go. All right. Let me just check. I just want to keep current with some of the comments here. By the way, I need to get something to drink upstairs. I don't have my thing here. So
why don't you call the butler?
Yeah, I'll call the Jeeves. Yes, I'll ask Jeeves. But while we're doing that, a big thanks to our amazing Mod Squad.
The Mod Squad, keeping order in the chat. The Mod Squad, spotting trolls who attack. Oh, Gen X is ready and on the scene. Frankie Biggs making sure they're keeping it clean. And Jennifer Sube telling haters don't be so mean. And Ashley Bouchard on top of our Facebook screen. We are the Mod Squad, cleaning up the mess. The Mod Squad, the Mod Squad, simply the best. The Mod Squad, the Mod Squad.
I made that one just long enough. I timed it out so I'm able to go upstairs, retrieve a beverage, and get back down before the end of the song.
That was
Hey,
very-
I got to see the Mod Squad, the TV show, just the other day. I was kind of stranded at Gina's place for a few days, and she has a different TV system. So I got to watch Vinny and Al on an actual television, whereas I can't do that in Asbury Park anymore. They changed it a little bit, and I don't have the technology. I watched in a different manner. But to see you guys on an actual television, and then I'm flipping the TV around, And she has Me TV 2. I never even heard of it. And the Mod Squad was on when I was a kid. I hope that people understand what an honor it is for this group to be called the Mod Squad. When I was a kid, that was the coolest because they were hip, man. They were like young kids doing good, working undercover. Oh, baby.
They were the original. They were the original 21 Jump Streeters.
Yeah, yeah. And they were a great combination. Pete Cochran, the good-looking one. You had Peggy Lipton, of course, and Clarence Williams III as Link. Link was excellent.
Was
Behind
cool
those shades.
He was the cool one.
Oh, yeah, he was cool.
Well, that's because his name was Lincoln. That's how his name, because Lincoln was his name.
Oh, okay.
And that's why they called him Link. And it was like when the cops stopped him, it's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Link." He goes, "What that stand for?" He goes, "Lincoln."
Tig Andrews has the chief of detectives.
Yes, that's right. Is it Tig or Teague?
I don't know. I always pronounced it that way. As a kid, I had no idea. It just said Tige.
And he was the ringleader of the group.
All right. Let's get back to the search here. We'll see what's next in the timeline. In addition to ground searchers, law enforcement employed every available resource at their disposal. Fire departments, mounted patrols, ATV, search and rescue, canines, drones, helicopters, even an airplane. During day 2 of the search, the Sumner County Sheriff's Department reached out to the FBI for assistance and specific resources that could potentially help find Sebastian, who has high-functioning autism. I contacted our FBI Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team for initial consults, and then they brought in the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit to assist. The BAU shared a statistic that about 50% of children with autism are prone to wander. They are also naturally drawn to bodies of water, and 71% of fatal outcomes involving missing children with autism were a result of drowning.
That's remarkable. That is absolutely a remarkable statistic. 71% of fatal outcomes involving missing autistic children were the result of drowning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3/4 of those poor children that disappear. Drowning, just horrible. But it's interesting, though, that they're drawn to the water. And they obviously there was water in the area and stuff like that. And so, the next thing is what they do is they drain the ponds and then they search the waterways and everything else, but nothing.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Now let's get back to it. So, I mean, again, a massive search was done here. They did not skimp. You can't say they ignored this case or this story. The lack of answers in the search for Sebastian has pushed the community to widely share the story on online platforms. You think? But law enforcement reminds the public to be wary of misinformation from unverified sources. And that's been an issue here. Well, see, this is an ongoing like battle between law enforcement and the true crime community online in the sharing of information and stories, etc. Information that turns out to be inaccurate can come from many different sources. Law enforcement always likes to point at, the internet rumors. But there's inaccurate information that comes from lots of different places. But there's also accurate information. And at the end of the day, my firm belief in all these stories and all these cases is that the pressure has to stay on. If the pressure doesn't stay on, the cases go cold like they used to years ago, and nothing happens, and absolutely nothing happens. And the reaction of law enforcement will be, well, if we hear something, we'll follow up, but you're not actively doing anything, and it just sort of simmers down, and you just hope you don't hope it goes away, but you can't solve every crime. You don't have the resources to constantly be on every case. But at the same token, if it's your child, if it's your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, or whatever, it's the most important thing in the world to you. So that's why I tell families all the time, I say, you need to be the squeaky wheel. You need to be the squeaky wheel. And I think Sebastian's father has continued to do that. And that's one big reason why this story continues and will not go away until it's solved.
Now that's important. It's important to keep it out there. I mean, the expression "there's no such thing as bad publicity." There needs to be that. The picture needs to be out. The picture needs to be altered to show the growth. Because I mean, we're talking about almost 2 years now, and you need all of that so that we can find this poor child. As I said when we started the story, it's heartbreaking, and there's nothing I find like more upsetting than seeing missing children. Just having children, I can't even conceive of what a parent is going through when a child is truly missing. It's just terrible.
Sebastian's disappearance has deeply affected our community. We understand the desire for the community to want answers and for us to explain every step of this investigation, but we can't release all the case details without risking the integrity of the investigation. We ask that the community refocus on what matters most, and that's finding Sebastian. Staying united and supportive will bring us closer to the answers we're looking for. Now, this is another moment with law enforcement, and I want to talk about another case that we're following, Melody Buzzard out in California.
Right.
That is a case where there's like drips of information that have been coming out over the course of a month looking for a 9-year-old girl who is missing. And they have video of her last being seen that they have not released. And I don't understand why, because that does two things. One, it shows you exactly what she looked like or what her mom looked like at the moment. It tells you where exactly she was last seen. They haven't even released the name of the city. They just said on the border of Utah and Colorado on the Colorado side. Well, that can mean many different things. And obviously they have information, but they haven't told us where she was last seen. And things like that I don't understand, because the most important part of a missing child case is finding the missing child, because there's always a chance until there isn't that the child is alive and needs to be rescued.
I just need to have a 3-minute break. I'm sorry. I've got a phone call I got to take here.
Here come the judge. Here come the judge.
A phone call. The judge is calling him. That's what happens.
Probably so, yes.
Yeah. You know what we can do, Jonesy? We got to remind folks, while Al is speaking with the judge, about what's coming up next month.
Ah, yes.
The Christmas Extravaganza, Sunday, December 21st from 7 to 10 p.m. 7 to 10. It's 3 hours. Jonesy, are you ready? Can you do 3 hours of this?
Oh, I can do 3 hours standing on my head.
Yeah. What's the longest you've ever hosted a broadcast?
100 hours and 42 seconds when I broke the Guinness World Record for longest radio broadcast back in 2001.
And what did you do, Jonesy, when you had to call the judge during that?
You know, it's interesting you should say that, because most of the reporters got massive press. That was one of their first questions. And, I would just say, like Sandra Bookman, for example, from WABC, and I were flirting a lot when we were on TV together. And at one point, I actually just looked at her and said, "No, Sandra, I don't ask you where you relieve yourself. Now, do I?"
That's good. That's sexier than filling out your taxes.
Yeah, she's on ABC Eyewitness News to this day, and not only did I notice that we were flirting, but Gina pointed it out, and she can tell things like that. And every time I see her on the news, every time I watch her, I think, what might have been.
What could have been. And by the way, at the holiday party, there's we're going to give away a lot of prizes, perhaps the 2-hour phone call with Al Wunsch. But one of the competitions involves you sending in some pictures.
That could help you.
Send a photo of your sweater to the moss, old or new. The winner gets a prize during Tangent Christmas Extravaganza 25. Old or new, send it to the Mars. Send it to the Mars. ugly sweater contest. Tangent ugly sweater contest. Send it to the mall.
So we got the Tangent Ugly Sweater contest. It can be an old picture, a new picture, whatever you want. Just send it to vinny'smods@gmail.com for a chance to win an incredible prize during the Tangent Christmas Extravaganza
And
25.
so now last year, if I'm not mistaken, we went how many? Were we over 3 hours last year?
I think
Oh,
we went
yeah.
over- yeah, we went over 3.
Oh,
We're probably-
big time. I remember because I was very, very, very sick, and I didn't know how I was going to make it through, and I kept staring at the clock, and we were still going. Like I think it was like 4.5 hours.
Yeah, I remember it was quite long and quite wonderful because it was a very festive and joyful.
Send the
What makes a sweater ugly is the question.
The pattern and the colors.
The
They're
gaudiness.
often they're way too busy.
It's gaudy. Busy is there's also the way of saying gaudy, and so it works on that. But I mean, Vin, history has told us about ugly sweaters that every year there is a situation.
civil rights and all the revolution fights. World War I and World War II. Al always knows who is who. It's this day in history. This day in history. History. Now let's listen to his story.
All right, November 14th, we're going to do Rev War history first. As you know, our 250th anniversary of the founding of our country is rapidly upon us. 1782, the Battle of Dill's Bluff, which was on James Island in South Carolina. It was the last revolutionary battle in South Carolina. The U.S. forces were led by none other than Tad Kosciuszko, the famous bridge player. Polish volunteer who was a engineer, came over and was a tremendous military asset to our country. The battle was not good for the Americans. We ended up losing the battle. And one of the stories that was interesting was this Captain William Wilmot of Maryland, who led his troops into battle. But prior to that, he asked a friend to borrow clothing that was clean because he said, should I not make it, I did not want to be killed in dirty linens. And unfortunately, he did not make it. He was killed in battle. And it was, just a very, very touching situation. The last man killed in the Revolutionary War in South Carolina. So that's a little thing on that we should always remember our heroes. November 14th in history, 1851, Moby Dick is first published. Call me Ishmael. You also had the situation that in 1883, Treasure Island was first published, written by Robert Louis Stevenson. And then one of the tragic
I haven't
stories.
read it. I'm waiting for the movie.
There's been about 7. One of the most tragic stories of sports happened on this day in 1970. That was when the Marshall University football team was wiped out, and when the DC-9 that they were in crashed, and it killed all 75 on board. It was 4 of them were from New Jersey, 2 were from Lyndhurst, 1 was from Patterson, and then the other one was from, I believe, Homedale. And it was such an unbelievably horrific thing. An entire football team wiped out in one plane crash.
You know what's interesting, Jonesy? When Al mentioned the ones from New Jersey, it's like when they used to do in the news and they would say there's this horrific plane crash, there were no Americans on board. There we
Right.
go. Oh, thank goodness. All right. Well,
Well, the reason I bring it up is because the first football coach of Don Bosco, who just recently passed away, his name is Coach
that's a drinking game, by the way. Every time he mentions Don Bosco, you got to take a sip, folks.
Coach Gaida had coached the Lyndhurst team and had coached those two ball players.
Gotcha.
And so we were always told about them because they were tremendously good athletes, tremendous stars of that football team in Marshall, and then cut down, when they were.
Didn't they do a movie about the season after?
Yes, they did. We Are Marshall.
Yeah.
Which was the story about the fact the terrible thing was that the head coach was not on the plane. The head coach actually left. They had played East Carolina, and then he used it as a trip so that he could go and do some recruiting. He was not on the plane, and then this happens. He was totally in shock. He wanted to resign from being involved with the school and everything else. They brought in a new coach, and the first thing the new coach did was make him an assistant coach so that he could keep him there.
Wow.
On the positive side, he started recruiting before the incident happened, and he did need a whole new team, right?
Well, what happened was the team was not able. It took a year before they were going to be able to regroup and re-up and get everybody, to come back to the school.
Yes.
May I say something about Kosciuszko, as I pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a Sopranos episode. Now, there's a bridge in New York City, Kosciuszko Bridge. It's pronounced differently by the traffic reporters every time you hear it.
Kosciuszko.
But that's how most of us know it, from hearing it on the traffic reports. And there's a Sopranos episode where they go off to Italy, and the Godfather there has grown elderly and has seemed to have lost some of his capacity, some of his marbles. But the one thing he remembers when they bring up the United States is he remembers the roadways, and he looks up at Tony and he says, Kosciuszko Bridge, Major Deegan Expressway. Because he remembered all the highways around New York City from his youth.
Yeah.
And that's my little tangent.
Thanks. Well, so continuing on history, in November 14th, on 1976, the movie Network premieres. It ended up giving 2 Academy Awards, one to Peter Finch and then one to Faye Dunaway. And in 2018, for all you Met fans out there, Jacob DeGrom got the Cy Young Award, and he was had the least amount of wins in the history of the Cy Young Award. He only had 10 wins in that season, but an unbelievable 29 start rate and also an unbelievable ERA. In true crime, on this day in 1881, the trial of Charles Guiteau started. He was the individual who red-rummed James Garfield. It is an excellent miniseries on Netflix. Some historical inaccuracies in it, but it's actually a very well done thing about the assassination of Garfield. Guiteau gets into this thing. They wanted to have him declared insane because he was insane, but he refused to allow that to happen. And he said, but I will allow this. God told me to take out James Garfield. So this was God. So God erased my ability to have free will because he told me I had to do this. And that would be my aspect of being mentally incapacitated, because I couldn't break what God wanted me to do. I didn't have free will. Before he got onto the gallows, because obviously that did not work, he wrote a poem that it goes, I'm called I Am Going to the Lordy. And then he shook hands with his executioner, and then he was depenned at that point. Okay, so it's just a tragic situation there for poor Mr. Garfield, who suffered. And there was another defense that it wasn't the bullet that killed him, it was the doctors that did, because they had done probing and things with unclean hands, and sepsis had moved in, and eventually what actually led to the death of James Garfield. Also,
now we have an announcement here that Hanukkah sweaters are also welcome.
Of course. Any you know what? Kwanzaa sweaters also. We're an equal opportunity ugly sweater competition. In 1959, today was the start of the Clutter Red Rums by Perry Smith and Richard Hickok in Holcomb, Kansas, better known as In Cold Blood.
Ah, yes.
That was the famous book that was written by Truman Capote about what happened with the poor Clutter family, four who had been red rummed by these two individuals that thought that he had money
Right.
and hidden in the house, and it turned out he didn't. An incredibly gritty and just an excellent done movie about that. Robert Blake, and also the other gentleman that was in the movie was in Walking Dead. So the two of them did a great job.
Let us not forget Truman Capote.
Well, Truman Capote was
an amazing piece of work there.
Then also in 1968, Ed Gein, when we talked about last week that the trial started on November 14th, he was found guilty, but then he was subsequently found to be not guilty by reason of insanity, and he lived in a mental institution for the rest of his life. And finally, in 2013, Whitey Bulger is sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms plus 5 years for the various crimes that he had committed when he was running the South Boston area and then disappeared.
The Departed.
Absolutely. And that's happened in this day in history.
Fantastic. By the way, Seth, Sebastian's dad, is watching. Seth, our thoughts are with you. I appreciate you jumping in here and speaking with the folks in the chat. And hopefully, and as you know, our thoughts are obviously with you, especially this time of year with the holidays coming up. All right. We've got another. Let's get back to the timeline. I want to get back to the timeline. And I just want to be in the right mode here. All right. Okay. And here we go. Sharing tips. Here's all the places you can put the tips. And we've had this on our crawl for like a year and a half, where you can put tips. I think it's still on here for TBI. But you can go Sumner County Sheriff's Office, TBI. You can do it many different ways. You can also contact the local FBI office or American Embassy or Consulate, I guess, if you are out of the country and you have a tip. So there's plenty of places to provide the information. And again, so extremely frustrating, obviously most frustrating for Seth, but I think frustrating for the entire community. And I know Seth has been out there recently and protesting and trying to get people to pay more attention. And I would say just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. I know he's not going to give up on Sebastian, so it goes without saying. But I'm kind of saying that to every parent out there or any loved one that, you don't feel like your case is getting the attention that it needs. Make the noise. Make the noise. Oh, by the way, I'm changing topics here. I don't like to do it too abruptly, but I have to because we do have there's a second huge competition in the Christmas party that's coming up, the Christmas extravaganza. And this one involves an incredible honor, which we will be crowning the Tangenista of the year.
Oof.
We're gonna crown the Tangenista of the year. It could be a man, it could be a lady, but whoever it is, they got to be the greatest. The Tangenista of the year. The Tangenista
That could be you having your moment, man or woman, lady or guy. It doesn't matter.
Are we allowed to enter?
You cannot enter.
No.
You just send a video. You can nominate yourself, which we encourage, or you
Yes.
can nominate one of the other Tangenistas.
Yes.
Just send a video, 60 seconds or less. It could be 10 seconds. It can be 15. It can be 30. It can be 59 and 9/10. But make the nomination, and the nominee will be judged accordingly.
Interesting.
It's exciting. And
Very exciting.
we'll also have a first runner-up. Jonesy, correct?
Yes. By the way, I love the video that you put together of Tangenista of the Year.
Yes. Did you see Miss New Jersey walk by?
I did not notice Miss New Jersey. I may have been looking at a different part of I may have not been looking at her banner.
Gotcha. But that was Wink Martindale.
Wink
Yes.
Martindale, yeah.
The
He
late
hosted it forever.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was a talent.
The late
Incredible
great.
talent. So yeah, I love Wink.
Oh,
Love
very talented, very talented.
Indeed. So we've got all that to take care of. And again, there'll be a first runner-up just in case Tangenista of the Year 2026 is unable to fulfill his or her duties during the course of the year. You know, there could be some controversy. You know, someone might dig up some old photos of the Tangenista of the
It
Year,
happens.
and you know, or they don't show up to some of the appearances, some of the personal appearances. You know, so the first runner-up is just waiting by just in case the Tangenista of the Year is unable to fulfill all of his or her responsibilities. And that's
Now, two questions. One, does the winner need to be present at the Christmas show?
not necessarily, but it would be kind of weird if they weren't.
Okay, and then the next question is a speech accepting the award required?
It's not required, but will be requested.
Oh, okay.
The
So I
winner
just
will
want
be
people to be
announced
aware of this,
during
you
the
know?
Christmas show. The
At what
winner
time?
will be announced during the Christmas show.
At what time during the Christmas show? Do we know?
That's the big moment.
Oh.
So you've got to watch for 3 hours.
I was gonna say during the first 15 minutes. Go right from there.
Yeah, it'll probably be sometime in that last half hour, 9:30 Eastern. What would that be Central, Jonesy?
That would be 8:30. I'm sorry, 9:30. Central would be 7:30.
No, Mountain is 7:30.
Right, Mountain is 7:30.
Oh, right. I had it right the first time.
Check
You know-
local listings.
You know, I used to be very good at this due to national networks and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
And you know what we used to do, which was interesting. It was a standard in broadcasting, at least where I worked, that when we were dealing with the West Coast, we gave the time in Eastern. We let them figure it out. Eastern was
Right.
the standard.
Right. Now, during the course of the program, folks, there's going to be trivia just like last year throughout the entire show, opportunities for you to answer some questions. And the first one to get it correctly will win some of the prizes. We had great prizes last year, including a lot of stuff from the Vinny Originale True Crime Merch Shop.
A hoodie, a beach towel, and a mug. A new design from Vinny is better than a drug. True crime merch, you know he did it. True crime merch, mark the exhibit. True crime merch, we hate Casey. True crime merch from Vinny Originale.
So you can see all the great stuff we have. We got the tangent stuff. Don't be fooled by imposters and all of this stuff. And we're also going to bring back the Crime Con wheel.
Of
I'm
misfortune.
going to reassemble it, and we'll be spinning the wheel that night. So it's going to be lots of fun, and surprise guests will be joining us. Surprise guests.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yes. Exactly.
Surprise
Um,
guests.
What else we got? Here we go. Here's one
You
of
know,
our.
every time there's a concert in New Jersey and they write surprise guests, they do that so that everybody thinks Springsteen's showing up. Like it's a standard at the Stone Pony or in Asbury Park or whatever the case may be. It always say surprise guest.
That could happen here. We could get Springsteen. There's a possibility.
I've tried.
You know,
Oh,
anything's
Sally,
possible.
Sally Vella is pitching a new merch slogan. I like it. Hostile witness.
Oh,
That's a good one.
That's.
I'm going to write that down.
We do have some stuff that has been designed and we're working on right now. So there will be new stuff.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the Uyghurs over in China to finish producing the stuff.
It's
No,
a
I'm
whole
only
tariff situation that's screwing up everything.
only kidding. I think that's one of the big shoe brands that uses that type of labor. We do not do that.
I was going to ask.
I like that. That's a good one. What's that?
I was going to ask what a Uyghur was. It's a brand.
No. These are slaves in China who
Oh.
are. I think they may be Muslim, but they're like slave laborers over in China. And now all of a sudden the live stream has been taken down in the CCP.
Yes, right.
I don't think we have any viewers in China.
Hey, you never know, man. I'm always shocked, in my travels to hear from people from places I do not expect them to be listening.
Yeah. Our live stream ended on Instagram. Instagram only lets you go for an hour at a time. So
Maybe the Chinese government ended it.
It could have been. It could have been. But all right. So all the links are being set up. So please, folks, get us those pictures, ugly sweaters, make the nominations so we can have a very competitive evening. Very competitive evening.
And study your trivia books.
And study your court TV and your Christmas trivia.
Yes, Christmas.
We'll be doing both of those.
We know the questions I did last year were all Christmas history questions. So we will, I'm going to keep the same thing.
There was a Civil War was the category on Final Jeopardy this week, and immediately when they went to the commercial break, I wrote to you gentlemen to let Al know that was the category. And I was so disappointed in the question because for somebody like you, Albert, it couldn't have gotten any easier.
It was very simple.
But Al did not put who is in front of his answer. So
I called him out on that.
They didn't put it in the form of a question, so it was I ended up getting the answer wrong, I guess.
But the answer was custard. No, actually, you would have been given a second chance. You would have been stared at until before the buzzer rang. If you said who is custard.
I could have put Custer is who?
I put Colonel Mustard. I got it wrong.
Yes, Colonel Mustard was not correct, but it was. Well, you know what? He was a colonel at the time of when he perished at the Little Bighorn.
Who was Colonel Mustard?
No, Custer was.
I'm always thrilled when I get Final Jeopardy. Last week I got it because it was one of the easiest ones ever. It was about the first video game, and it was Pong.
Pong. Who doesn't know that? I think even my kids.
Some young people do not. You'll be amazed if you watch Jeopardy that some of the younger crowd do not know things that are very obvious to gentlemen of a certain age.
Right. I get it. It's always funny watching them try to do sports.
Well, yeah, no, the sports categories though are generally a little broad, so it's not that big, not that difficult. It's just like my.
Sometimes it's difficult for them because
my
everything but sports.
My greatest fear is anything that like old women poets would be this category that would, if that came up in the Final Jeopardy, I'd just go, I'm done. Can't do it.
Well, the categories can be deceiving because sometimes there'll be something that I think I'm good at, but then the questions will not be geared to a gentleman of my age, like popular music or TV programming, pop culture things I'm very good at. But but sometimes it goes it scares a little younger than my
What
my
year?
knowledge.
What year does your pop music knowledge really cut off?
I think I'm damn good at it through the '80s, and then the '90s is questionable. And then after that, it's rather difficult.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because you knew in the '70s you knew everyone.
Oh yeah,
You would and all genres.
yeah,
All genres. What's really happened, I think, I think it's become very more genre specific at this point because there used to just be everyone was listening to the same 40 records, and that's
Right.
not happening anymore. The music is so vast, just like television and every other media, that it becomes much more difficult. And by the way, folks, we do have these hats on the True Crime merch shop. One of the new items, the allegedly hats. And I was wearing it today, and I was buying something, and someone, noticed it. I forgot I was wearing it, and they used the word allegedly, and I didn't pick up on it, and I totally dropped the ball on it.
Oh, Vin,
That's why it's a great conversation starter, and
that is true.
really does make a great Christmas gift.
For the person who has everything.
Yeah. By the way, we are working through rehearsals on the big opening number for the Christmas special.
Dancing
It's
with the
gonna be-
Stars is easier.
Bigger and better than this is my favorite production of the year. Of all the things that I produce for the show, for my live stream, for the Tangent podcast, this is my favorite. Is the opening number to the Christmas show. So you got to be there in the beginning to see it, right? So you don't want to miss the beginning of the show. Like the big opening number, it sets the tone for the show. And this year, it's big. Right, Jonesy, is it big?
it's big.
Oh, it's big.
Oh, ho ho ho! Is it big?
I'm telling you.
Indeed.
It is a,
So what's nice, what we've got now with the software, I'm able to put the scroll up of some of the comments as they're happening. The original mode was too small for anyone to read, but I think people can read some of these. So that's a nice little thing there. I am not responsible for what people are saying. But the nice thing about our podcast is that the chat room is really it's a cool place to hang. People
Yes.
have respectful conversations. We're all here for the right reasons, and everyone can take a moment to, we can take a tangent and a detour away from the heaviness of so many of the stories that we cover. So we try to do that balance here on the podcast. And that's really the motivation for it, is to get the information, tell the stories, but then also have moments where we can step away from it and go off on a tangent and smile and laugh about the other things in the world and in life. So there you go. And by the way, Johnny Knoxville is going to send you some beaver nuggets from Buc-ee's.
oh, that's nice.
Beaver nuggets. What's a beaver nugget?
My guess is it might be something like a chicken nugget, but not quite. Tastes like chicken.
I was at an alligator farm in Florida once, and we played with the alligators and held the alligator and stuff like that, the baby alligator. And we went to the snack bar, and they had gator bites. And I thought, how could you sell gator bites at this place? And it wasn't until like 20 years later, like it was just pointed out to me that they were probably chicken bites, and they just called them that.
Yeah.
But I thought they were we were playing with the gators over there, and I thought we were eating them over at the snack. I didn't order it.
Oh, they do have gator bites that are real gators, and you can get them.
I know. But at this place, it really wouldn't make sense to me anyway.
Yeah.
Like now,
Well,
you've
go
seen
to
how
the-
wonderful they are. Now let's eat them.
Yeah. Well, you can go to the aquarium in Atlanta and get a fish sandwich.
Ooh.
Yeah. Right from the tank.
When I had to choose my trick with the dolphins, you could choose one trick when you swam with the dolphins. Gina accepted a kiss. The dolphin kissed her on the lips.
Oh,
And I gave that dolphin hell, I'll tell you that. But I chose to have my arms extended like across, and two dolphins would come up behind me, and push me by my arms across the waterway. And they got really fast. And just when you're coming up to the dock and you think you're going to be beheaded, they let go and swim back the other way. And then you realize how quickly the force of water stops you. Because I really thought I was going to my face was going to hit the edge of the dock. But they time it so that the water pressure slows you down like almost instantaneously.
Did you purchase the video? Because I know they probably wanted to sell you a video of this. Did you purchase it?
I think we have a picture of her receiving a kiss.
Okay. We don't have you?
We may someplace, but it was, back in the days of hard copies. And they're in a shoebox.
We need to dig that up.
Yeah.
All right, folks. It's about that time. We got to run. Any other business?
Can I walk? I have trouble running.
Well, I'm working on my knee, getting my knee better. I'll be running soon. I think in another 3 weeks, I'm going to start running.
Must be nice.
Every day. But anyway, Al, where can folks find you?
Well, tonight I will be at the Bosco first round of the playoff game against Seton Hall Prep, of which a young man who happens to be Vinny's nephew will be playing on the Seton Hall team. And I will extend your well wishes to the young man when I see him on the sidelines there. And then, of course, on Monday night, I am on Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan from 8 to 9 every Monday night. There's 2 other people with me. Don't worry about them. The one's getting a little, too big for her britches. But the other one is,
she wears britches?
Yeah, well, but nonetheless, don't worry about those 2. Just listen to me, and everything is going to be good. And hasta la vista, Los Stangenistas.
Jonesy, where can folks find the radio legend?
Well, after the show here, I'm going to head over to Wegmans to pick up dinner, prepared dinner. I'll be found in the prepared dinner aisle. That's the way the bachelor in me rolls. And probably pick up some Taylor ham, and I'll stop by the liquor store, see what goodies they have there as well. So I'll be getting there. I guess about I don't know, what time is it now? I guess about 2:30.
2:30 at Wegmans.
All the food groups are represented with that Taylor ham and alcohol. Very, very nice.
Yes.
Folks, you can watch me every night on Court TV, 8 to 10, 8 to 9 is Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan, the biggest legal stories of the day. Then 9 to 10, we take a deep dive into one huge story. It's Vinny Politan Investigates. 2 hours of live true crime. The only man on television doing it night in and night out, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. I'm getting exhausted.
Doesn't matter what the weather is.
Doesn't
right?
matter.
Doesn't matter.
People have been complaining because I've been using my PTO days.
Wow.
Not people at work, the viewers have been complaining.
I never got used to that whole PTO thing, paid time off, where they combine like sick time with vacation time and the whole shebang.
This is what it means, Jonesy, is people come to work sick because I'm not going to use my vacation days when I'm sick.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's very counterintuitive to helping the workforce stay healthy.
And you know something else? I never took the Christmas week off like everybody else at Court TV, because back in those days, we used to be in stunt programming. So I didn't really have to do anything. So I would just show up.
Yep. All right, folks.
PTO, they sang Taking Care of Business, right? Taking Care of Business.
Yeah, Pachman. He's getting back together with Burton Cummings and the Guess Who touring next year.
Say goodnight, Jonesy.
Good night, Jonesy.
Oh, we have to do that again.
Take two.
Take 2. Wait a second. I don't know why it's not. Oh, here we go. I got to move that. All right. Second stanza. All right, here we go. Say goodnight, Jonesy.
Good night, Jonesy.
True Crime Podcast. We'll see all of you in court. Somebody
Somebody say tangent.